Beautiful day in Boulder for homecoming weekend, but my goodness, Brian, almost at a loss for words what happened here. Colorado gets a 31-3 lead over Oregon State in the second half. ESPN's win probability has them at 99.8%, and somehow they find a way to lose this football game.
Yeah, this was just stunning. I mean, I don't even know what the words are, but like to lose this game 41-34 in overtime to this team that has been just dreadful. I mean, I've watched Oregon State play several games. This is a team that lost 49-7 at home last week to Cal. Cal was 0-3 in conference, and they lose 49-7. They can't even score against that team. And for them to come into Boulder and win this game, especially with CU up 31-3, and to outscore them 38-3 the rest of the way is just, it's stunning. You and I were talking about it. It's reminiscent of that 2010 game against Kansas when they were up 28 points and lost that game. I think this one's worse. I thought this was a much worse loss for them.
Well, what's at stake for this program especially? This is a team that, if they clinch bowl eligibility, gets their a little bit of their mojo back, and 4 games left. And now this football team is going to be fighting to get in another win this season because of how devastating a loss like this is. Mike McIntyre used the words gut-wrenching. I don't know how you come back from this. We've heard that this is a brotherhood. Time and time again, it's really going to get tested.
It really is, and I think bowl eligibility honestly went from a lock at half, winning up 31-3 to really a question mark at this point. And we're sitting there before the game talking about, well, which bowl game will they go to? I think you seriously have to question after a performance like this and now 3 straight losses, will they even get into a bowl? They've got 2 road games left, and it's never easy on the road. And the 2 home games are against the hottest teams in the conference. So, I think it's possible. I don't know if it's probable. I think it's possible that they don't win another game. And I think that's stunning because this team had it at 31-3 today.
Drew Lewis mentioned in the post-game press conference a good point. When you lose momentum, it's really hard to get it back. And obviously that's what took place here. Mike McIntyre doesn't like to run up the score on opponents, and I think that needs to change going forward because if you're in a situation like this, you need to keep that competitive edge on your sideline to try to get a 69-3 lead because, apparently crazy things happen like this.
Yeah, and I don't know how much that came into play today. I mean, Oregon State came back and got the touchdown right away to make it 31-10. But, the offense from that point on didn't do anything. And it wasn't the same offense. And not that they were playing fantastic offensively before that. But, there's no killer instinct on this team. And I know he says that, he's not going to, run the score up on people. And he's done that after, games against New Hampshire, things like that. And I agree with you a little bit. I think that maybe that mentality, maybe it didn't really come into play today, but maybe that mentality from previous weeks sets in for this team, and then they know, hey, we're up 31-3, we got this.
I thought with 5 minutes left when Montez found Katie Nixon downfield on second down to get them in field goal range, that they were going to survive this game. And then Trey Udofia with a really costly late hit out of bounds. I was actually coming down to the field at this point. Did that seem like a good call?
I saw a very brief replay, and I don't know how far out of bounds he was, if he was out of bounds. So I don't know. I hate to say this because it's a coach thing, but I have to go back and watch the film because I don't really know. I looked at it briefly because there was so much going on. It looked like it was, the guy was going out of bounds, and it looked like it was a legitimate call to me, just at quick glance.
What a devastating penalty. You at least keep them at the 25-yard line with 2 minutes left. Now you give them the ball at midfield. Then on the next play, Udofia called for pass interference, and it's like McIntyre said the wheels were falling off in this football game for this team. Yeah, they really were. And, the penalties by Udofia back-to-back were back-breaking, but I really thought, you mentioned the pass to Katie Nixon, the fact that they only got a field goal out of that, was a huge win for Oregon State. And they get 3 more points for Colorado, but that's not what Colorado needed at that point. Colorado had to punch that ball in and make it a 10-point lead, not a 6-point lead. And I feel like, once they didn't get a touchdown there, and the way that defense was on their heels, you just knew something bad was going to happen. And then the back-to-back penalties to Udofia puts them, I think, at the 35-yard line, around the 35-yard line, and Oregon State just kind of went from there. Evan Worthington was knocked out of this game. Kyle Trago was disqualified. They were definitely thin in the secondary. McIntyre said that was a tough adjustment for them. But, you're up 31-3. There's no excuses. Yeah, there's no excuses. And, you're playing Oregon State. I know they're, there's the whole cliche. They're college athletes. They're Division I scholarship guys and all that. But they're a 1-6 football team that, honestly, this was their first win against a football bowl subdivision team since 2016. They had 2 wins in the last 2 years. They were both against FCS teams. They hadn't won on the road since here 4 years ago. This is a team that doesn't know how to win and doesn't win.
and you let them win today.
And apparently the loss is partly our fault too, by some fans.
Apparently, a lot of talk, a lot of chatter on Twitter towards the end that the media needs to ask all the tough questions and everything, and I get that, but and we do to an extent try to ask some tough questions, but it's easy to kind of talk tough, I think, sometimes on Twitter and say, I would ask this, we need different people in there. Yeah, you want to ask those things, but, when you're sitting there in front of players that are on the verge of tears, how much do you really want to attack them? And, when it's Mike McIntyre and he's putting on a brave face, he's going to answer a certain way. I mean, there's... Right. I'll let you mention, because you mentioned the Tad Boyle point to me afterwards. But
well, Tad Boyle is going to come into the post-game press conference and say, like that one loss to Arizona, I want to fight somebody, and talk very honestly. Mike McIntyre has a different demeanor.
Yeah.
He can be a bulldog in the Champions Center, but it's behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You're not going to get him calling out a coach or a unit. That's not how he operates. He wants to keep things in-house. He's going to be really tough on his staff this week, but he's not going to come out in the media and talk about it. That's just not the way he operates.
Yeah, and it's a tough balance for us too. I mean, we're, especially you and I, we're the only media people that are here, every day around this team, and it's tough to really go attack a coach and then you have to go face him again on Monday. It's just it doesn't work like that, and it's easy to say that on social media, yeah, I would do this, I would do this. Well, it's a little bit more difficult when you're in that situation. I feel like we did ask some tough questions, like, hey, what does this loss do to this team? And McIntyre, to his credit, talked about, he feels like confidence has taken a hit, and it should.
Yeah. All right. Well, this football team's going to try to pick up the pieces. Shorter week. They go to Arizona. Arizona State beats USC today. They win this football game. They're very much in the running for the division championship, and that's kind of out the window now.
Yeah, it really is. And honestly, I thought it was out the window last night when I saw Utah win another one, pretty easily. I mean, Utah's going to run away with the South at this point, the way things are going. But I didn't think CU was really in it. I think Utah's the team, but so much has changed for CU after this loss, and and just mathematically, you're right. The fact that if USC loses that game, CU is right in it, and you never know what happens. Maybe there's some injuries that happen, and Utah comes in here wounded. CU gets that win. So yeah, a lot changes today.
All right, devastating loss today. We'll see just how devastating this is for the program going forward.